2, 1, go! Do I say that every single time? Anyway, I'm totally predictable, but that can be comforting or boring. Just depends on how you look at it. So today I'm going over week 11 for you. We're getting really like into the final landscape project because we're like gearing up to the final end of the class. And as much as it's been wonderful, it's kicked my butt. That's the truth. Anyway, so here we've got, this is not highlighted because it's not published yet because I haven't put the video in yet. But it's all there, all the content. And then this goes in, I put this in every module just to give you like that whole overview because I think that's helpful of what's due when. Although I'm not sure if I corrected this in here yet. I did bump the plant key assignment to week 12, which actually made a lot more sense when I looked at it. So a lot of landscape project stuff. So you may notice that in the earlier modules there was a lot of content, like hopefully, one hopes, is that one crossed finger or two? I don't remember the one that makes it like magically happen. That you went through all of that content, and many of you did, and you had wonderful things submitted, which showed me that you've gone through the content, but not everybody. So if you were one of those people that was like, yeah, I don't really need to look at this, you did, and you do. So you may want to go back. I think it was week 4 was the client interview, and week 7 was the base map. Anyway, go back and look through that stuff, especially look through the things you submitted for my comments, because we're doing it again now. The idea, right, the fantasy idea of how education is supposed to work, because this is how learning happens in the real world, is that you create something. You get feedback from someone who knows more or from the world, like you build a go-kart and it crashes, right? The feedback is, we crashed, what do we need to do to redesign the go-kart? Or the feedback is, here was the rubric, but this is what you didn't get a lot of points on, okay? And then, as in the real world, you rebuild and you try again. So this is the next stage of the trying here, client interview and base map. So make sure that you got that feedback so that you can recreate for this next time. Now, I think I said this somewhere too, but I need to say things 7 times now because everyone's so busy and crazy with information coming in. If you are using the same site that you did previously, you can submit the same base map, but please make sure that if I had comments about it needing any improvements, that you improve it. I mean, yeah, anyway. But I'm hoping, although I won't know until tonight, the 22nd, it's due on the 22nd, I think. So this is in the future now, which is a little weird. That you will be seeing this sometime later than when I'm doing this. I'm hoping that some of you are in groups and that you're choosing a site that's different than what you already chose, but I left that up to you, which was stupid, whatever. Okay, so client interview and base map. So please look over this though. It's been a while. There's a lot that's happened between week 7 and now, and make sure that you're clear with all of the content that's here. And then adding in something new, a plant list. So this is where you will submit. Oh, also note that the base map is due on the 13th, which is week 12, Thursday. Gives you a little extra time. Okay, so landscape project, plant list, and theme. So something that I didn't mention a lot, although I've stuck it in now just for this week, is you probably want to have a theme for your design. I mean, you will have a theme for your design, but it may not be articulated. I'm asking you to articulate it. Like the theme, you know, for like around my landscape here, around my house, is like whatever pretty cut flowers I can stuff in every little nook and cranny based on, you know, their requirements. So it's not really a very attractive theme necessarily, but when things are flowering, it's really nice. There's just flowers everywhere, which is cool. So my theme is really flowers, right? So you'll have a theme based on what you choose. It might just be things you like, but I'm asking you to articulate it in a more clear way, in a more articulated way. So it could be like if you're designing something, you know, for kids or tactile stuff, sensory garden or medicinal plant garden, you know, whatever. So keep in mind though that I want you to use plants from the list. I was thinking about that too. Like I would love for somebody to do a native plant garden, but I don't even know that there are 30 native plants on our list. So stick with the list And then you may need to, like, if your theme is native plants, it might be California natives and drought-tolerant plants, something like that. So you can use plants from the list. There we go. So yes, plant list, you need at least 30 plants from the list that you will use. And I think for this assignment, I'm scared to click it because it will take so long then. My computer is sounding like an airplane with overheating right now. Anyway, so if you look at this, it does say 30 plants. And you need to have some characteristics of those plants. Let's see. Yes, and then the theme. So what was it? For next week, you're going to have a key to identify these plants. So that if this was your landscaping client and you submitted a plan, then you would also give them, along with their plan, which I think every landscaper ought to do, a plant key so they can identify the plants that are there, which is kind of a cool thing. Teaches people how to pay attention to what's really around them, and I think that's critical and important right now. But the plant key isn't for next week because it was just too much. So plant list, 30 plants and themes, and the characteristics of the plants. That was it. So for this, there's specific things. I think I have water needs, soil needs. I know a lot of the plants didn't have any particular soil needs, so you can just say NA or whatever that didn't count. Water, sunlight needs. I didn't put zone in there because I'm just assuming, which is maybe foolish, that everyone's only going to choose plants that would grow here. Please make sure. I mean, maybe I need to add that. I don't know. But what I didn't put in there, and I did actually recommend that you add this, is characteristics that help identify those plants. Because the following week, you're going to need to have those characteristics so you can make a plant key to help identify those plants. Anyway, so that might be something that you do now rather than later, but it's up to you and your time, because this is due this Sunday, and the other one isn't due until the following Sunday, I think, the plant key. Okay, and then in the plant family tree for this week, it's the more asterids and the subtribe Lamiids in the asterids, and then the order Lamiales, which is, I mean, I say this every time, I know. It's a wonderful order. It's got some really great plants. And I think as you go through and look at the pictures in the soft chalk, you'll recognize some family characteristics, like there's certain tubular, bilaterally symmetrical, which is zygomorphic in botanical nomenclature. Zygomorphic flowers, the mint square stems, opposite leaves, which is the characteristic of the Lamiaceae family, but also very much like the Scrophulariaceae family, I think that was it. When they're young, they have more square stems. And anyway, just like some order characteristics that you can kind of sort of imagine what their ancestor may have looked like. Sort of, kind of. Anyway, and then plant presentations for 141 and 155. Make sure that you know that you need to do those, right? It shouldn't be a surprise at this point. I need to put in your due dates for the third round of those soon. I haven't done that yet. And then Ron Finley. Ron Finley is a superhero who I've had the great pleasure of meeting. He's quite a character. And he's like really internationally renowned gangster gardener from South Central LA. So there's a video of him, his famous TED Talk, and then an article in The Guardian that's much more recent. But I want you to look through those things and just, chat about him. Okay, so now I'm going to read the plants, 156 to 170. Pardon my slow computer. All these screencast-o-matics and zooms and soft chalks have made it tired. Me too. We're both old. Oh man, could have sworn I had this set to where it was supposed to be. Silly me, I'm assuming that like my doing these little videos that you're listening to them, and that then you know how to pronounce the plants that you're presenting. But watching the videos, I don't think that's the case. Whatever. I'll do it anyway for the 3 of you that care. Thanks for caring, you 3. Okay, hold on. 156 to 170. Come on, slow computer. There we go. Lobelia erinus. Lobelia. It's a pretty little bright blue flower. Lobularia maritima. which is a weird name for sweet alyssum. Again, a tiny, beautiful little, loved by pollinators, especially little like wasps and stuff that you want to have around to parasitize pests, little caterpillars and stuff. So you definitely want to be planting alyssum. Mathiola incana stock. Oh, I love the smell of this. It's like cloves. Papaver nudicale, the Iceland poppy. Just about going down for the season, those ones, but my goodness. No, I don't think you can see them behind me. Every day I cut them. Every day I cut them because they just keep growing more and more and more, and they're just amazing flowers. Pericalis hybrida used to be called Senecio. Keep changing those names around. Cineraria is its common name. Petunia hybrids, different petunia hybrids, which weirdly enough, you know, there's these little bedding plants that are like this tall. But now, in fact, I just got some plugs that are supposed to be like that tall and nice cut flowers. But related to tobacco and the Solanaceae, which have really sticky stems. Tobacco is a beautiful cut flower, but those sticky stems are hard to work with. Portulaca grandiflora, rose moss, wonderful little wild edible too, purslane. Verdulago, depending on what part of the world you're from. Primula polyantha, English primrose. Salvia farinaceae, hooray! I don't know the mealy cup sage, that certainly makes it sound unappealing, but the salvias are wonderful plants. It's good to know them, especially if you're growing here, because they're kind of essential in landscaping around here. So it used to be called Solenostemum, weird. But then it was before and now is again Coleus. So it's just known as Coleus to most human beings, but those botanists, they just like to confuse people, don't they? So Coleus, again, super cool plant that we are very lucky to be able to grow here easily. It doesn't like the cold though. Tagetes, hybrids, different kinds of marigolds. Viola, witch rockiana, pansies, and Zinnia elegans, of which there are so many incredible varieties. Ajuga reptans, the carpet bugle. Drosanthamum floribundum, the ice plant. A lot of people misidentify things as ice plant that aren't, so just take a look at that and be clear about, like, aha, that's what the plant with the common name ice plant actually is. And I think that's it. That is. And I am over and out for the week. I'll see you next week.